Welcome into Crunch Time with Chris. My guest today is fresh off a state quarterfinal win, and that is Jansen Ackland, head coach over at Mountain View Birch Tree Liberty. Do you guys just go by Liberty? Now I get to ask you this because I sometimes I see it both ways. What do you guys prefer?
Yeah, just Liberty. Liberty is what we prefer, but we've been called Mountain View Birch Tree Liberty for a while now, so we're used to it. But yeah, Liberty is what we prefer.
That's awesome. Oh, by the way, Coach, we actually are a sponsored show, Crunch Time with Chris, Captain Crunch. No, actually not. That's always the joke. I want someone to sponsor this show, and nobody ever
Yeah,
does. But we're hoping it happens at some point. But Coach, I got to tell you, congratulations. Obviously, what an amazing accomplishment! You guys knocking off Lamar most recently here. Eighth time was the charm for you guys, and you were a part of a couple of those seven straight losses to them in the quarterfinals. Oh my goodness, you must still be basking in the glow of how amazing yesterday was.
yeah. I mean, it is a surreal feeling being a part of it now after with my dad being the coach all those years, and seeing us get to this point and not being able to get past it. It's pretty awesome to be here and be able to be in this moment. But we kind of made it a story of this team and not Liberty and Lamar. So you kind of just don't want to make it a revenge game. It's just this team they worked for this opportunity, and we were able to get past the quarterfinals for the first time. So that's really what we tried to make the focus on last week.
Yeah, you mentioned your dad, Darren, 2003 to 2017. He was obviously your coach when you played. And obviously the Ackland family synonymous with Liberty, like peanut butter and jelly, huh? I mean, this is just a full circle moment for you. I mean, I'm sure has it sunk in? I mean, how do you process all this? It's such an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really fully sunk in yet, just because we have to get right into the next week preparing for the semifinals. But it is pretty awesome just being able to grow up in this locker room, and always dreamed of one day being here, coaching in this moment, and have a staff around me that I love. They're all Liberty guys too. They played football here for 4 years, so it's just pretty cool to be in this situation that we're in now with the awesome kids that we have as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Last week on the show, we had Brock Carnegie on, and he just lit up talking about the Liberty program. And, obviously, your brother's an assistant on his staff. You've got your brother on your staff as well. Your brother Gentry, a state champ in, a track and field, and he's on the collegiate level now. And I can only imagine what Thanksgiving is going to be like for you guys. Are you going to, like, what's your plan for that day as you prepare for this massive matchup coming up on Saturday?
Well, usually we have a big turkey bowl where we get all of our buddies together, and we have a big game out on the football field. But we're gonna have to postpone that this year and wait till Christmas. So the competitive side of us, that's not going to be able to be out there this year. But we're going to be practicing, so I guess that's even a better achievement, and we're all going to be together for it. So it's going to be pretty awesome to have all them together as we prepare for Final Four for the first time ever.
Yeah, what a special Thanksgiving, one to remember forever, I'm sure. And I just want to mention too for the viewers, we're recording this on Sunday night. It's going to be released on Wednesday, so right before Thanksgiving. And like I told you earlier, I really appreciate you squeezing me in here. What goes into a week of preparation like this? You get Blair Oaks, you go from one state championship team, Lamar, back-to-back champs, to the Class 3 state champ who has moved down to Class 2, which, Coach, that sounds very unfair to me, but they're undefeated. That's who you're playing at home at Liberty. What do you know about this team?
Oh, they're obviously, a very talented team. They haven't lost very many games, in the last 8 years. And, we can't control the outcome of, whenever the classifications come out and all that. All we can control is, who's in front of us, and just prepare the best we can. We've been in here for hours on hours watching film, preparing together. So, we just want to do the best we can to prepare our kids and, get ready to go on Saturday.
And how awesome to be able to play them at home again. I heard, we have a group chat, Coach, and Sully was at your game, and he was just texting us about how like emotional the scene was. for so many people who had been there, just keep banging their heads up against that Lamar wall and to finally break through like you guys did. What do you expect the atmosphere to be like for this state semifinal game?
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Like I told him, it's just a tremendous community that has really taken pride in what we do, in our football program. And I know it meant a lot to all those people that, watched all those games in the past. And just to have them continue to support us year after year after year is just, it's so awesome. And to be able to host this Final Four game, not only is it the first time ever, but being able to host it for the first time ever is just, it's huge for our community. I'm really proud of our guys and really proud of our community for the way they support our guys.
Yeah, I mean, this must be exactly how you drew it up, right? Your third year as a head coach, not too long after graduating from Evangel, where you were a great player over there with your brother. This is exactly where you thought you'd be in a few years, right? After you started coaching, huh?
Not necessarily, but just blessed with the opportunity and great coaches around me and awesome kids, awesome community, awesome administration. Just can't thank the people around me enough.
Well, that's an exciting, what an exciting time for you guys. I'm trying to wrap my brain around what it's like to live in a community like that. You grow up with, you watch your dad coach, you and your brothers all starred there. They're certainly very lucky to have you guys, and I love that. One of my favorite parts of this job is to kind of see the families that make up some of these towns and put their heart and soul into a program. Did you always know that you wanted to follow in your dad's footsteps?
Yeah, it's definitely something, from a young age. I can't remember exactly when, but just being here, me and Jalen, we were here whenever we first took it over. I was 6, he was 8 years old. So we literally, grew up in this locker room out there on the field. And it's just a passion that we saw him have and we fell in love with as well. So, we all talked about it growing up that, once he was done here, we wanted to have the opportunity to do the same thing and, just do the best we can, just like he did, give everything we can to the program, to the kids. And, it's just awesome to be able to be in this moment and be here. And with the great staff around me, like I said, couldn't do anything without them. So, it's just a blessing to be here in this moment.
Coach, I was actually at your first game of the season, the Stratford win, which was a shutout and a blowout. And it was hard to know what was better, the offense that seemed to score every time they touched the ball, or the defense who didn't allow any points. And obviously, in a 12-7 game, that lends itself to, the defense really standing up.
Mm-hmm.
How has your defense improved throughout the season to be able to hold a back-to-back state champs to 7 points?
Yeah, our defense coming into the season, we knew was going to be, our strong point. We returned 9 of our guys from last year and really had a great season. We had the most shutouts we'd ever had in a single season in Liberty history last year. So we knew we had them to lean on. We had to, make some changes offensively. And, with our quarterback, he, Parker Toon, he went from being our quarterback to start the year out to back to receiver, and his little brother, freshman, stepped in at quarterback. And our offense has taken big strides since then. Our team has really rallied around our freshmen, and we've done some great things ever since then offensively. But going back to defensively, it's just those guys taking what we've been preaching, and Coach Gaston, our defensive coordinator, has done a great job with that unit. And we just talk about playing fast, playing physical. It all comes down to alignment and doing your job every play. And these guys obviously have taken that to heart, and they do a great job. Stopping a team like Lamar to 7 points is it's tremendous. That's not something that happens very often. So just super proud of all those guys for sure.
Yeah, I was at your Mountain Grove game as well, and I remember one of the fans talked to me during halftime, and they were telling me about how good this kid is that they just put in a quarterback, and how it allows them to do other things. Parker sounds like a guy that you could almost put anywhere, and he'd be an offensive weapon. I mean, they used to say that about Michael
Yeah.
Vick, offensive weapon. I mean, um, talk about the buy-in that they have to play all these different roles. A lot of kids sometimes probably just want to stay at one position. What has it been like coaching those guys?
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, all those guys, our whole unit, they they completely bought into this change that we had mid-season, and it's just not very common to have kids that are selfless like that. And they just said, Coach, we just want to do whatever it takes to win. I mean, that's really what they wanted, and the results from it, they're there. I mean, offensively, our numbers have went up, and not everybody's getting the same amount of touches, but we're scoring way more points, and our offense is clicking on all cylinders. So, just have guys that are selfless and just want to do what it takes to win is tremendous.
When you look back on this season, was there any point that felt like a turning point that made you guys the kind of team that could win a game like you just won? Were there certain moments that you look back on and say we made an adjustment here, or we changed the way we did things here? I mean, I guess I'm asking you, what's the inside story to how this team has improved every week like this?
Honestly, I think it's our two losses, and I know that's not what you want ever is a loss on the schedule. But the third loss, we were up 14-0 going into halftime, and they got a late score right there before half, and then we just never could get our momentum back. Ended up losing that one and got to the 2 yard line, as time expired. So, that one is just, I think we learned a lot about finishing games the way that you start them, or better than you start them. And then, our loss game 6 to Mountain Grove was just, we just couldn't get anything going offensively, and defense, our confidence level. So just taking the learning experience from those and applying them, in the locker room to film study to, just everyday life. These guys came together and they were like, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. And they've been having their own player led meetings. They've been, getting together more outside of football, and the bond they have is just, it's so special. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen it before in this locker room. So, I just can't speak enough about how our guys just took it and ran with it, that they wanted to make sure they didn't have that feeling again. And, that's why we're here today, because of the buy-in to the process that these guys have.
This is uncharted territory, I know, for you and for the program here. Getting ready, you're one win away from playing in the state championship game, getting to go to Mizzou. How do you prepare? How do you think this week is gonna be different? Are you hearing from a lot of people? I'm sure there's maybe some distractions that come with being this successful because now our whole viewing area is looking at you and Nick. So those are the two schools we've got left.
Yeah.
How do you what do you expect this week to be like for you?
I think the biggest thing is just, staying present, staying in the moment, and doing the things that, got us here. It's going to be weird, obviously, with Thanksgiving week preparation. That's something we've never been through, always wanted to, but this is our first time actually, preparing through Thanksgiving. So I've reached out to a couple coaches that have done it just to see, how they went through the process of, high school kids still getting time with family and, still feeling prepared for the game. So been doing that, and just going to preach to our guys. We gotta stay in the moment. Can't get caught up in any outside distractions. Just do the things we've been doing, and take our performance to another level. Just be the best version of us on Saturday is our main focus.
Well, Coach, I know you're squeezing us in here between prep time and everything else you got going on a Sunday, getting ready for this massive game. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you about here that you think deserves mentioning? Anything you've thought of here regarding this win and what you guys have ahead of you?
No, sir. I think you hit it all, and I just want to say thank you to the entire community for the support you guys have given us, and we hope to see you out there on Saturday. We're excited.
Well, hey, Coach, best of luck. Thank you, like I said, for giving us a little bit of your time and a peek into what's going on with the Liberty program. And we can't wait to see you guys on the field on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right.